Well, speaking of Team USA, time to go on call with U.S. indoor assistant coach Chris Schiller. He was part of the U.S. indoor team as a player in 2007, 2011, also part of the men's outdoor national team in 2010 that won gold. After graduating from Penn State, Schiller went on to play pro lacrosse, 12 years in the NLL and 9 years in Major League Lacrosse, now stationed down in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we go on call now with Chris Schiller, the U.S. men's indoor assistant coach. Chris, you also are a very proud Penn State alum. And before we get to the U.S. stuff, we got to talk about the Crown Classic that you play an instrumental part in organizing. And your Penn State team against Cornell, it was the last game we had a chance to do here on LSN this year. And it was one of my favorites I've ever done. How special of a day was that, Penn State and Cornell, and just how the drama kind of unfolded in that game as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously being a Penn State fan, it wasn't the best outcome, but for the fans of Charlotte, I think what I was most excited to see was the crowds that came out. I mean, we have over 4,000 people there, treated not only to, basically the Crown is shaping up to where we envision it. We had a great D2 game, an unbelievable Limestone Lenore Ryan game. Then, we got our women's game involved with Syracuse and Virginia Tech. And then just the grand finale with Penn State and Cornell. What an unbelievable scene. It was great for the players of Charlotte, the parents of Charlotte, to see what it takes for their kids to play at a high level. So it was a pretty proud moment. It was pretty satisfying. And quite honestly, we're ready for next year. We're full bore ahead. And the lineup that we have potentially is incredible.
Yeah, and the atmosphere there, it just felt big. And there was big moments in that game, and the atmosphere felt like it lived up to it. It was a really special day. I want to hit on some of the future talent, because we saw great young talent in that game, especially an American guy from your alma mater, and Grant Ament. And you focus on now the indoor, and we see so many young guys try to transition their game indoors. What do you see as the future of some of the young talent that we see in the game that are up and coming, a guy like Grant or Michael Sowers, and what they could possibly bring indoors with what you focus in on with the U.S. men's team?
Sure. I mean, we look for particular things, especially with indoor. I've obviously focused on Penn State a lot, just selfishly. Love the team, love our Coach Tambroni and Toner are taking this thing, and Coach Haas. So when you look at some of these players, like a Sowers, a Grant Ament, a guy who, I think is still not talked about enough, in Mac O'Keefe. Mac has a different subset of skills than Grant does. So Mac's just a pure indoor player. He can catch and throw in tight spaces. He's comfortable in tight spaces, and he can absolutely shoot the lights out of the ball, right? Pick tiny spots and hit it. Grant is different. Grant has a Mark Millen type of move. I played with Mark for the Philadelphia Wings when I was on the practice squad, and they won the championship. So I got to see exactly what Mark did to become successful at indoor. And what that was quick, sudden movements, right? With his head constantly up, looking for, that perfect pass. And he has that explosiveness that can blow by, any defender. Grant is very good at change of direction. And at indoor, you're in a tight space. Change of direction is critical. And, the same with Sowers. Sowers has unbelievable vision, that change, that quick speed. He's not the fastest guy from a 40 standpoint, but from a 0 to 5 standpoint, 0 to 10, there's no one quicker on a dime, and that's what you look for. And they have the toughness. Toughness is number one. They all have it.
Where is today's young U.S. player compared in terms of being prepared to play in the indoor game compared to the last couple of generations? Where is the indoor game for U.S. players now compared to what we've seen?
I think the NLL has done an incredible job of revamping and revitalizing their brand. They are at the top of their game right now. More Americans are looking at the indoor game to play, and with organizations like US Boxla, giving Americans a ton of exposure to the game. They're bringing it to cities all over America, and they're seeing, these kids are seeing how fun it is to play this game. So you got to give credit to those organizations. US Lacrosse is now really starting to hone in on, focusing on developing their language, their rules, their staff for the box game. And especially with this new short-sided game that's coming out in the Olympics, that is a hybrid between the outdoor game and indoor game. And if you want to really look at it, it's indoor. It is indoor lacrosse with the number of the players, the smaller size, substitutions. So I think these Americans that are coming out now, these generations, as opposed to a couple generations ago, have the access to the indoor game way more than maybe even Grant's generation or Mac's generation. It's been there, but now it's at home, it's in the States, and you're going to see this American squad, slowly start to chip away and try to get to that gold medal game.
And I think that's the tough thing when you look at it, is because if you're north of the border in Canada, you grow up. Sometimes it's probably the first type of lacrosse you're introduced to is the box game. So you grow up developing those skills. What are the key development aspects of the indoor game amongst U.S. players? Like, where does the development lack in terms of some of the younger ages on your way up?
Well, indoor is very specialized. It's way different than outdoor lacrosse. And if you watch an indoor game, there's subtleties in the game like hockey or more like basketball, where there's plays, there's picks, there's moving picks. They're looking for the smallest space to open up to make a tight window pass to make a shot, right? There's substitution, games, that a game within the game with indoor. And if you do not have that experience, we can play 5-on-5 with pretty much any team in the world. Canada's an exception, maybe. They're still, probably a good, 2-3 years ahead of us, probably more. But if all we say in the U.S. team, just give us a chance 5-on-5. But those little plays, those substitution plays, the transition plays, that's what has killed us. It's plagued us for a long time. And we took a pretty big step back, probably the last 5 years, 5 to 10 years, I'd say 5 years, because of that conflicting schedule between professional outdoor lacrosse and professional indoor lacrosse. That has changed. And, U.S. Boxer came along. So, like I said, I think the sky's the limit for this, for Americans playing box.
So you mentioned some of those subtleties, and we're going to get into some examples of that from the World Indoor Championships here from last fall. And we're going to start with a couple of plays where you guys showed some progress. Let's start here from the pool play game between you guys and Canada. What do you see here?
Yeah, so, Canada you can go up and down their lineup. We actually had a joke internally. We had a Skype call, and, we're talking about, okay, we could focus on individuals or we could just focus on their offense, because they had a litany of people. And this play especially, this is just great fundamental 5-on-5 defense. It is a two-man game on the, if you want it from the goalie's left-hand side. And, you got Dobie here, you got all these athletes, and it's just incredible team defense, switching, talking. And we just had a great veteran squad this year, mixed in with a couple of young guys, which was great. We had Joel White picking off a pass. It's just, that is the fundamentals of team defense. Great switch right there, great switch back. Canada's so good at being patient and, resetting if they don't have it the first time, going back at it, trying another pick. And they usually, in our scouting, we saw that if they don't have it 1 or 2 times, they are apt to throw it across the field. Joel White was ready there. Tons of indoor experience with Joel, so he saw that coming. Led to a great fast break for us.
So let's move ahead to the semifinal game between the U.S. and the Iroquois. You guys are in the white here. What do you see in this play?
Yeah, so, our main focus here is Cody Jameson, just such an incredible player. Anytime he touched the ball, we wanted guys around him. We didn't want him to have a free access to any type of plays. But this right here was just an unbelievable team D, aggressive, not letting them get rebounds, led to, a nice transition that we ended up pulling back because we didn't have the numbers. But this is just nice defense that we were playing. And, the big thing with the Iroquois is not allowing them second chances. In this play, you'll see a nice shot. They did get a quality shot, but we had an incredible goalie in Goa, Abrams, and, we were able to not let them get that second shot. Those second and third chances against a team like the Iroquois in Canada, it would absolutely kill us, but we did a good job. That's just something, I really wanted to focus on, going into these games, limit their chances.
And we're going to stay with that semifinal game against the Iroquois. Another good job here against Cody Jameson.
Yeah, Cody is, I don't even think arguably probably the best player in the game right now. He's just playing at an incredible level. And with, in this particular game, Lyle Thompson was out. He got injured a couple of games before. So we knew we could focus on, probably him and Stotts. Stotts, once again, an incredible player, but we want to make sure Cody couldn't pull up right there and have that. He's got such a unique shot. For any young player, I'd love for you to just take a look at Cody and how he shoots. He's got this twisting motion that is hard to pick up for goalies. We wanted to push Cody on the opposite side and give Goa, that short-sided angle, which would give Cody only a short, a minute, angle at the goal. So it gives Gary, Goa a great chance to make a save. So just a really nice, flow to our defense, passing Cody along and making sure he doesn't get that chance probably right there to step in to take a really quality shot. We force him on his offside, and the angle was poor.
So we've mentioned some of the areas where you were talking about where the U.S. can improve. Let's take a look at some of those plays where maybe there's room for improvement. Here, you guys in the blue jerseys.
Yeah, so this is the subtleties of the game. This is the substitution game. So if you watch right there, there was a communication gap we had amongst our defense. We had the Canada team subbing off the bench. And, these are little subtleties. When you go in the indoor game, you just can't sit back and wait for guys to come. Right there is where we should have fouled him or passed that guy right there. We had him cutting it for offensive players, and even specifically, this is a great example of cutting through the middle, subbing off the bench. Cut right through the middle. You can create confusion amongst the defense, which it did, and created an open shot and goal. So those are the little subtleties, those little communication games that guys need to really step it up. What we like to say in that, for the U.S., me and Coach Smith, Joe Smith was my other D coordinator, is that the guys behind the play who get to visualize everything coming in, they're the communicators that talk up and, tell guys to pass off or stay with. And in this case, unfortunately, we just had a communication error. But those little things are still what separate us from getting to that gold medal game against teams like the Iroquois and Canada.
Finally, you mentioned the little things, the slimmest of margins between you guys and the Iroquois here in the semifinals. What are the little things here you saw that can be improved?
Yeah, well, we did a great job. One thing, we had an incredible little D stand here. The little things, though, is when you play against Canada and Iroquois, they have 2 or 3, sometimes 4 guys that can absolutely, pick you apart. You have to stay with the play. And in this case, we had a great job. We did a great job, passing guys off. You can see how great that the Iroquois moved the ball. But this little guy right here, Cody Jameson, we can't fall asleep on this guy. It was a huge goal for the Iroquois right there. We're up 2 in the third quarter, in the semifinal game. And, we just lost a bit of focus. I think we got tired there. We started swinging the sticks a little too much. And with a guy like Cody, you have to be on him 100% of the time until that shot clock goes. So a little bit of a mental error, but it's a big one, that we need to focus on throughout, the entire game. I'll actually tip my cap to Cody. It's an incredible play. But we had the numbers back. We had the team defense. We were playing great. And we just had a little mental lapse. He beat, I think, 3 of our guys here, maybe 4. So we just can't have that happen.
A special player, but it was a tournament that was special for you guys. What's the future of this U.S. men's indoor program when you look ahead to now kind of 3.5 years ahead in the next World Games?
Yeah, take a look at our roster. I'd encourage everyone to look at a roster from Vancouver. It's young. It's full of athletes. You're seeing guys like Blaze Reardon and Rambo coming out. Guys that the young players are looking up to right now. Like, hey, I want to be that. I want to be Rambo. I want to be Blaze. Shriver. We talked about him. We were missing him throughout the entire game. So if you take a look at our performance without arguably our best offensive player, who just creates so much, I think there's a lot of positivities we took out of that. Then you start talking to these younger players, which you guys talk to the college players that are going into the pros right now. They're talking about indoor. They're Grant Metz, visibly talking about playing for Philadelphia, his hometown, for the Wings. So guys like Rambo and Blaze, they've not to coin that term, but they blazed that trail for these guys to watch how fun this game is.
Chris, we appreciate you being on call here for US Lacrosse. Stay safe to you and yours, and we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, thanks for the coverage on the Crown, and we appreciate your support on US Indoor.